I am not a good speller. So much so that if someone said, "Do you know how to spell?" even before they say the word, my mind says, "I don't know how to spell it. Don't even ask me." And sometimes in my emails and SMSs or even PowerPoints for a message at church, there'll be spelling mistakes. Sometimes it's a word I know how to spell, but I didn't do one important thing. Something that since primary school my teachers are always telling me to do. And that is reread my work. Before I send that email or that SMS, before I think I've finished and close that PowerPoint ready for Sunday, I need to reread it, to review what I've written. And even though I've heard it for so long, I still forget. And a lot of my spelling mistakes could be avoided if I actually just reread my work. You know, reviewing shouldn't just be something I do when I'm writing. It should be something that I do as a disciple. Why? Because we want to follow Jesus' way, and Jesus reviewed. That might surprise you. We often think of Jesus as teaching and demonstrating, or his disciples learning and applying, but Jesus reviewed. Two great examples of Jesus reviewing with his disciples is found in the book of Luke. In chapter 9 of Luke, Jesus sends out his 12 disciples to preach the kingdom of God and heal the sick. When they return, they tell Jesus all that's taken place, and Jesus takes them away to a quiet place, to review, to feed back, to talk about what's happened. Then in chapter 10 of Luke, we read, Jesus sent out his disciples 2 by 2 to the towns that he was heading to. When they got back together, they reviewed what took place. As Jesus' disciples, we need to review. Take a step back and ask the question, how did I go? Romans 12 verse 3 tells us, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment. Rather think of yourself. Stop and review. We can so often let life happen and not look back and review on how things went, on how they're going. Now, as I mentioned before, I am not a great speller, but I'm going to spell review to talk about review. So the first letter in review is
R.
R for real. We need to be real with ourselves and others when we are discipling. If we don't want to know the real answers to how did that go, there's really no point in asking the question. And if someone asks you to help them review, then just saying good really isn't helpful. We need to be real with each other. After R comes E for encouraging. Even if we or the person we're discipling really messes up, the way we talk, the words we use should always be encouraging. Reviewing should always leave you or the person you are discipling encouraged. We want others to have a go, maybe with some changes, but not to be discouraged, feeling like they shouldn't try again. Next comes
Yep. Very tasty. Yeah.
V for victories. No matter what has happened, there are always victories in learning and applying what Jesus said. We need to look for them and hold on to them. After V comes
I'm just a furry letter-loving guy, and I want to think of things that start with I.
I for intentional. Reviewing, asking how did it go needs to be intentional. If you are asked to help someone review, need to honor that and be intentional in what you say, not just flippant with your answers, but intentional in really trying to do your best to help the person grow. After I comes
And the winner is elephant.
E for equip. Learn, apply, review is all about ourselves or the person we're discipling growing and being equipped in what they know God is asking of them. And reviewing is such an important element in equipping us and helping us move more and more like Jesus. Then the last letter in review is W for wisdom. As with learn and applying, reviewing really needs the wisdom that only comes from Jesus, Word and Spirit. Wisdom to review with Jesus' eyes and wisdom to know the way forward. If we learn, apply, then go straight back to learn, apply again, and don't review, don't take the time to stop and ask, how did it go? We are missing a vital growing tool, and we can become discouraged or just move forward onto the next thing and forget what God has taught us and shown us.
Experiment 2. The food is connected to a mild electrical current. The hamster has learned a valuable lesson. Beware the hand of man. Wise guy, eh? Ow! 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 Hamster 2, Bart 0.
When I reread my work, I know what it's meant to say. So there's been many times when I've reread something I've written and I read it the way I intended to say it and not actually what I wrote. This can also happen when I stop and review myself. At times I see things for how I think they should be and not how they really are. If we truly want to review, we can't do it alone. We need each other. We need others to walk side by side with us. So seek feedback. Don't be afraid to ask, how do you think I'm going in that area? Or when I did that, how did it go? How did you find it? We are called to be following Jesus, to be his disciples, and to help others do the same. Learn, apply, review. Asking, what is Jesus saying? What am I going to do about it? How did it go? These tools can help us be discipled and help us to disciple others. Let's go and make disciples Jesus' way.